Academy Awards, Golden Globes. Darling, you can keep your ceremonies. We've got the 2021 Masked Reader from Calderstones. Of course, it is still lockdown, so wasn't going to get all dressed up, but it's nice to pretend to make an effort at times, isn't it? Welcome to the 2021 Masked Reader. I'm Miss Matt Mullen and I am going to be your host for the evening. What is this? I don't like it. I'm confused. Don't worry, I'm confused too, but it's fine, I'll talk you through it. So, this is the Masked Reader. People in masks are going to read to you. It's fine, it's not going to be like in a creepy, random strangers are reading to you kind of way. No, it's not. The people in the masks are your teachers. They're going to be reading to you. You have to guess which teacher is which. You also have to guess the books that they are reading for bonus points. There is a handy little form linked below. You need your Caldies address to sign into that, because if you don't go to Caldies, I don't fancy your chances of doing well in this. But why would you do all of this? What would the point be? Because you're going to win things. You can win a Kindle. You can win a variety of books. This is going to be amazing. It's going to be a thing that we do every year. Maybe we can do it in real life without it being virtual. Maybe it wouldn't even be as good. Who knows? Here's our first act.
Chapter 1. Later, it was said the man came from the north, from Roper's Gate. He came on foot, leading his leaden horse by the bridle. It was late afternoon, and the ropers, saddlers, and tanners' stalls were already closed, the street empty. It was hot, but the man had a black coat thrown over his shoulders. He drew attention to himself. He stopped in front of the old Narrow-Court Inn, stood there for a moment, listened to the hubbub of voices. As usual, at this hour, it was full of people. The stranger did not enter the old Narrow-Court. He pulled his horse further down the street to another tavern, a smaller one called the Fox. Not enjoying the best of reputations, it was almost empty. The innkeeper raised his head above a barrel of pickled cucumbers and measured the man with his gaze. The outsider, still in his coat, stood stiffly in front of the counter, motionless and silent.
Yikes. Tough start, Miss McMullen. Well, that was the wizard, and the wizard blew me away. Amazing outfit, amazing performance, and all round a very difficult one to guess. But as such, I am going to give you 5 points if you can guess that teacher. You also get the additional 1 bonus point for if you can get what book they were reading from. So that means that the wizard can get you a total of 6 points just from the first round. But don't be disheartened. I'm going for a slightly easier one next time, worth 2 points for the teacher and 1 point for the book. Good luck.
1. The horror in clay. The most merciful thing in the world, I think, is the inability of the human mind to correlate all its contents. We live on a placid island of ignorance in the midst of black seas of infinity, and it was not meant that we should voyage far. The sciences, each straining in its own direction, have hitherto harmed us little. But someday, the piecing together of dissociated knowledge will open up such terrifying vistas of reality and of our frightful position therein, that we shall either go mad from the revelation or flee from the deadly light into the peace and safety of a new dark age.
Intense. If that stands out to you as something that you have read before, then you are in danger of getting an additional point for getting the text. Otherwise, you're aiming to get which staff member that was. Now, the next video is also worth 2 points for the staff member and 1 point for the text if you know what that book is called or who it is by. I'll give you a point for either. It's fine. Now, enjoy this adventure across the sky in our next video.
During the third attack, Hazel almost ate a boulder. She was peering into the fog, wondering how it could be so difficult to fly across one stupid mountain range when the ship's alarm bell sounded. "Hard to port," Nico yelled from the foremast of the flying ship. Back at the helm, Leo yanked the wheel. The Argo 2 veered left, its aerial oars slashing through the clouds like rows of knives. Hazel made the mistake of looking over the rail. A dark spherical shape hurtled towards her. She thought, "Why is the moon coming at us?" Then she yelped and hit the deck. The huge rock passed so close overhead it blew her hair out of her face. Crack! The foremast collapsed, sail, spars, and Nico all crashing to the deck. The boulder, roughly the size of a pickup truck, tumbled off into the fog like it had important business elsewhere.
Thank you, Iron Man. And from Iron Man, we go to a fairy tale castle. This one you're going to get 4 points for, plus the 1 point for the text if you know it.
Hello. You started at the beginning, which is impressive. I usually start in the middle and never read introductions. It's surprising that I've made a book because I'm not good at reading them. The truth is, I need pictures. They are like islands, places to get to in a sea of words.
Magical. And keeping with that theme of magic and fairy tales, now we're going to go on to see a monster. And for that, you are going to get 3 points for the staff member and 1 point for the book.
Once I had the green wardrobe, I was enrolled in another school, Ruby's Premarital Preparatory, a school for young women of good family who were studying to be married. Its motto was from the Bible: "Who can find a virtuous woman, for her price is far above rubies." This school was also run by the ants, but despite the fact that they wore the same drab uniforms, these ants were somehow more stylish. They were supposed to teach us how to act as mistresses of high-ranking households. I say act in a dual sense. We were to be actresses on the stages of our future houses.
You might be sitting there thinking, I'm not getting any points because I haven't been taught by any of these people. Well, you will definitely get a point for the next book. I know that you know this one. You will get 2 points if you get the teacher and 1 point if you get the book.
Mr. and Mrs. Dursley of number 4, Privet Drive, were proud to say that they were perfectly normal. Thank you very much. They were the last people you'd expect to be involved in anything strange or mysterious, because they just didn't hold with such nonsense. Mr. Dursley was the director of a firm called Grunnings, which made drills.
If you are in year 8 or above, this next one should be an absolute doddle. You will get 3 points for the teacher, 1 point for the text.
Boxer was an enormous beast, nearly 18 hands high and as strong as 2 ordinary horses put together. A white stripe down his nose gave him a somewhat stupid appearance, and in fact he was not of first-rate intelligence, but he was universally respected for his steadiness of character and tremendous powers of work.
From the world of animals to the very human world of cops and robbers, you're going to get 3 points again for the teacher and 1 point for the text on this one.
Here are the cops of London town, hard-working, brave and true. They drink their tea, stay up till 3, and take good care of you. Here are the robbers of London town, with crowbars and skeleton keys. They prowl and creep while you're asleep, and take whatever they please.
This one's a classic, very famous opening line. Hopefully you'll get that. If not, the teacher. You will get another 2 points for this teacher and 1 point, of course, for the book.
Chapter 1. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief, it was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light, it was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope, it was the winter of despair. We had everything before us. We had nothing before us. We were all going direct to heaven. We were all going direct the other way.
Welcome to Sesame Street. Get 3 points for guessing who Elmo really is and 1 point for guessing what Elmo is reading.
Uwe is 59. He drives a Saab. He's the kind of man who points at people he doesn't like the look of as if they were burglars, and his forefinger a policeman's torch. He stands at the counter of a store where owners of Japanese cars come to buy white cables. Uwe eyes a sales assistant for a long time before shaking a medium-sized white box at him. "So this is one of those iPads, is it?" he demands. The assistant, a young man with a single-digit body mass index, looks ill at ease. He visibly struggles to control his urge to snatch the box out.
You might find the next one quite threatening, but if that's the case, then you probably don't want to watch to the end of this video, because some of the later ones get real hostagey. See who you think this is for 2 points.
December 2001. I became what I am today at the age of 12, on a frigid, overcast day in the winter of 1975. I remember the precise moment crouching behind a crumbling mud wall, peeking into an alley near the frozen creek. That was a long time ago, but it's wrong what they say about the past, I've learned, about how you can bury it, because the past claws its way out. Looking back now, I realise I've been peeking into that deserted alley for the last 26 years. On the last day of summer, my friend Rahim Khan called from Pakistan. He asked me to come and see him. Standing in the kitchen with the receiver to my ear, I knew it wasn't just Rahim Khan on the line. It was my past of unatoned sins.
This next one, I mean, I can be pretty extra, but somebody had this in their attic. And honestly, I think you're going to know who would have this in their attic. So you're only getting 2 points for them and 1 point for the book, of course.
"But this is touching, Severus," said Dumbledore seriously. "Have you grown to care for the boy after all?" "For him," shouted Snape. "Expecto Patronum!" From the tip of his wand burst a silver doe. She landed on the office floor, bounded once across the office, and soared out of the window. Dumbledore watched her fly away, and as her silvery glow faded, he turned back to Snape, and his eyes were full of tears. "After all this time?" "Always," said Snape.
I don't like Star Wars, but I envy that dress-up collection so much. Next, we have a piece of almost like spoken word poetry. It's beautiful. You are going to get 2 points though, plus the 1 for the book.
This is the bell on the school in the bay, ringing the children in from their play. This is the teacher holding her chalk, telling the class, sit straight, don't talk. This is the board as black as soot, and this is the snail with the itchy foot.
Next, we have a bonus guest appearance. It's either one of the teachers or one of the teacher's children. It depends on how young we hire them at Calderstones. You can have 3 points for these.
Hello everybody. Betty O'Barley and Harry O'Hay were scarecrows. They scared lots of crows every day. Harry loved Betty and Betty loved Harry. So Harry said, "Betty, my beauty, let's marry. Let's have a wedding, the best wedding yet, a wedding that no one will ever forget." Sit, turn the page. Betty agreed and they hugged and they kissed. Then Betty said, "Harry dear, let's make a list." "Just as you say," answered Harry O'Hay. So they wrote down the things they would need on the day. A dress of white feathers, a necklace of shells, lots of pink flowers, 2 rings and some bells. Then Harry gave Betty O'Barley his arm and the scarecrow set off on a hunt round the farm. Goodbye.
Adorable. It's another 3-pointer next, and this just goes to show how well you can do for a costume with even just a piece of paper. I love it.
Hello. Welcome to my masked reading here at Anonymous HQ. Dare to guess who I am and what book I'm reading from? Let's have a listen. "It's kind of amazing we found this," said Lan. "It was the storm," said Sep, twisting his headphones. The box wasn't here last week. The rain must have washed it out. How old do you think it is? Said Hadley. Hundreds of years, maybe thousands. Maybe millions, said Arkle. You're an idiot, Lamb muttered, then flicked his ear. Arkle grinned. I still think we should have made it into a fire pit, he said, flipping the lid on his lighter up and down. Sep saw Hadley watching him from under her fringe. Her tormentors, Sonia and Chantel, had chased her to the forest and along the edge of the ravine, and her eyes were still red. He looked up through the trees at the clouds, great towers of pale that flattened to anvils on the sky and spread out over the island.
Who is it in the motorbike helmet next? It's another 3-pointer, but now I'm regretting it being another 3-pointer because I'm kind of like making these up on the spot, and I feel like I've kind of hit a wall on the points thing. I just keep saying 3 points for everyone, so I feel like I need a really hard one soon. But 3 points, plus obviously the one for the book.
To the red country and part of the grey country of Oklahoma, the last rains came gently, and they did not cut the scarred earth. The ploughs crossed and recrossed the rivulet marks. The last rains lifted the corn quickly and scattered weed colonies and grass along the sides of the roads so that the grey country and the dark red country began to disappear under a green cover. In the last part of May, the sky grew pale, and the clouds that had hung in high puffs for so long in the spring were dissipated. The sun flared down on the growing corn day after day until a line of brown spread along the edge of each green bayonet. The clouds appeared and went away, and in a while they did not try any more. The weeds grew darker green to protect themselves, and they did not spread any more. The surface of the earth crusted a thin, hard crust, and as the sky became pale, so the earth became pale, pink in the red country and white in the grey country.
I'm going to go down to 2 points for the next one. 2 points for the teacher, 1 point for the text.
My name is Kathy H. I'm 31 years old and I've been a carer now for over 11 years. That sounds long enough, I know, but actually they want me to go on for another 8 months until the end of this year. That'll make it almost exactly 12 years. Now I know my being a carer so long isn't necessarily because they think I'm fantastic at what I do. There are some really good carers who've been told to stop after just 2 or 3 years. But I can think of one carer at least who went on for all of 14 years despite being a complete waste of space. So I'm not trying to boast, but then I do know for a fact they've been pleased with my work, and by and large I have too.
Do you remember how we had Iron Man before? We're going to have Iron Man again, but it's going to be like harder because this is like a still Iron Man. You don't get to use like the body movements or anything, so you just have to figure it out from one picture. Look at this picture. Who is it? I'll give you 6 points for this because there's no movement. So remember how I just said, remember how we had Iron Man and now we've got Iron Man again? Well, we've got Iron Man again, but a different kind of Iron Man. And I just have so many questions. So many questions.
Iron Man. So now, get up. Felled, dazed, silent he has fallen, knocked full length on the cobbles of the yard. His head turned sideways, his eyes are turned towards the gate as if someone might arrive to help him out. One blow, properly placed, could kill him now.
It's 3 points, by the way. 3 points, that one, plus the 1 for the text. I think this one's like not too hard to get. I want to say 3, but I've said 3 so many times. I'm going to say 4 points for the teacher because, hey, 3 points, it's fine. Obviously, you get 1 point for the text, but also you're getting an additional 5 points if you can guess which literary character they are kind of being inspired by. So they've picked a character from a book, a novel, a poem, a play, one of the above, and they are kind of channeling that character as they do their piece. You get 5 points for getting that character.
Well, howdy do, Calderstones. I am so honoured to be here today and will help you along with your little competition. I really do appreciate the kindness, and that means so much coming from me, 'cause, well, I always rely on the kindness of strangers. Now, one of the reasons that your invitation today has particularly touched my old heart is that, well, I used to be a schoolma'am, just like your little old teachers there, and, well, I mean, we don't really talk about that anymore, but still, it touched me some. I probably shouldn't mention things that age me so, though, but with these blinding lights, who can help but look like an ancient old hag? Anyway, I've brought a book here today, one that really tickles my heart. Oh, it makes me laugh. Now, so I'm going to read a little bit of that to you, and then you're going to guess what the book is, who I am, and who I'm basing my whole persona on today. So shall we get started? I think we should. Chapter 1, Hairy Faces. What a lot of hairy-faced men there are around nowadays. When a man grows hair all over his face, it is impossible to tell what he really looks like. Perhaps that's why he does it. He'd rather you didn't know. Then there's the problem of washing. When the very hairy ones wash their faces, it must be as big a job as when you or I wash our hair. So what I want to know is this. How often do all these hairy-faced men wash their faces? Is it only once a week, like us on Sunday nights? And do they shampoo it? Do they use a hairdryer? Do they rub hair tonic in to stop their faces from going bald? Do they go to a barber and have their hairy faces cut and trimmed, or do they do it themselves in front of the bathroom mirror with nail scissors? I don't know, but next time you see a man with a hairy face, which will probably be as soon as you step out on the street, maybe you will look at him more closely and start wondering about some of these things. Now, can you guess that book? Can you guess who I am? And can you guess who my behavior is based on? It's a literary character. Some of your older ones in the school may know them. Have a lovely day, Calderstones.
Now we're coming up to the final videos. We've got 2 more, and I just want to do a little warning on the fact that they both feel kind of like someone has been taken hostage and they're asking for a ransom. So they're going to be 6 points each. I'm going to play them back to back. Enjoy, or have nightmares, whatever.
So this is an extract from my favourite book. Can you guess what book this was? When we were children, Hassan and I used to climb the poplar trees in the driveway of my father's house and annoy our neighbours by reflecting sunlight into their homes with a shard of mirror. We would sit across from each other on a pair of high branches, our naked feet dangling, our trouser pockets filled with dried mulberries and walnuts. We took turns with the mirror as we ate mulberries, pelted each other with them, giggling, laughing. I can still see Hassan up on that tree, sunlight flickering through the leaves on his almost perfectly round face. A face like a Chinese doll, chiselled from hardwood. His flat, broad nose and slanting, narrow eyes like bamboo leaves. Eyes that looked, depending on the light, gold, green, even sapphire. I can still see his tiny, low-set ears and that pointed stub of a chin, a meaty appendage that looked like it was added as a mere afterthought, and the cleft lip, just left of midline, where the Chinese doll-maker's instruments may have slipped, or perhaps he had simply grown tired and careless. Can you guess who I am?
Hi everyone, and welcome to The Masked Reader. Let's begin. It was a bright, cold day in April, and the clocks were striking 13. Winston Smith, his chin nuzzled into his breast in an effort to escape the vile wind, skipped quickly through the glass doors at Victory Mansions, though not quickly enough to prevent a swirl of gritty dust from entering along with him. The hallway smelt of boiled cabbage and old rag mats. At one end of it, a coloured poster, too large for indoor display, had been tacked to the wall. It depicted simply an enormous face, more than a metre wide. The face of a man of about 45, with a heavy black moustache and ruggedly handsome features. Winston made for the stairs. It was no use trying the lift. Even at the best of times, it was seldom working. And at present, the electric current was cut off during daylight hours. It was part of the economy drive in preparation for Hate Week. The flat was 7 flights up, and Winston, who was 39 and had a varicose ulcer above his right ankle, went slowly, resting several times on the way. On each landing, opposite the lift shaft, the poster with the enormous face gazed from the wall. It was one of those pictures which is so contrived that the eyes follow you when you move. Big Brother is watching you. The caption beneath it ran.
And that's it. That's the whole of it. That's the Masked Reader 2021. Next week, a week today, solid 7 days, the forms will close and you'll no longer be able to enter to win that Kindle and those books. So I suggest you get that done as soon as possible. The form is linked below, and next week I will release a video with the unveiling, the unmasking, the reveals of all of today's participants. Thank you so much for tuning in and staying tuned for the full thing, and I'm really excited to have had you here with me. I've been Miss Matt Mullen, this has been The Masked Reader, and happy World Book Day.